our members first. First of us is me. I'm 25 years old. I'm international. The next one, Ladarashi, and the last, Angwala Suksena. We three of us is the study in international business management major. The next one for the intro. Global human resource management is a timely as excellent resource and is focused on developing and transition country feel something of a gap in the life later. It is a welcome addition to the list of resources available to human managers working in the international screen. It's by Human Manley of the Samsung company. The needs of highly qualified multicultural manager will increase as more organizations globalize their operation. This global manager may be perceived as organizational resource and therefore a resource-based view of human resource management is useless. At the same time, relational views of human capital provides insight into the value of managers who have unique local market knowledge. By integrating the two aspects of the resource-based view, one can develop a dynamic capability as opposed to studying global assessment. Within this integrative theoretical perspective, impaled manager can be exposed as a potential pool of uniquely qualified global manager to be utilized in the global organization. It is envisions that through this unique building of managerial talents, organization can develop, maintain a distinct competitive advantage in the market day's entries. This article explores impatration as an innovative means to develop measure as statistics results to be used in formulating and implementing a global strategic plan.
Next, our weekly topic research is employee benefit of Samsung. Why choose this topic? We choose this topic because employee benefit show us that the company doesn't focus on the company's success only, but they also focus on employee life and employee future too. This benefit will keep a good member and help the company getting better and better. Samsung profile. The Samsung Group is a South Korean multinational conglomerate headquartered in Samsung Town. Its company is comprised numerous affiliate business, the most of them united under the Samsung brand, and is the last South Korea chain-bound business conglomerate. Samsung was founded by Lee Bong-chul in 1938 as a tech company. Over the next 3 decades, the, the group diversified into areas including group processing, textile, insurance, security, and retail. Next, work at Samsung. Samsung is an amazing place to work with great people, an outstanding environment, extensive support for employees, and the opportunity to be a part of innovation that make a real difference in the life of millions of people worldwide. We we are proud to
Hello,
provide a wide we are proud to provide a wide range of benefits to help you and your family meet your coverage needs. This is from the Samsung benefit. Focusing on personal research target or generally applicable issue, not on US scenario. Samsung provide an environment where employees can stay focused to a variety of programs that ensure their health and family happiness.
There are 8 main benefits in Samsung company. First is health and wellness. Samsung has on-site gym. They provide an in-house fitness center along with personal training program provided by professional trainer and guarantee the wellness of our employee and their family. They provide financial support for medical checkup and treatment for all employees. Second is insurance. They provide dental insurance, health insurance, vision insurance, and life insurance. Third, the leave. The management or labor at the Peach Grant recently agreed to double of guaranteed duration of pay paternity leave to 20 days for an employee who spouse give multiple births at once. They also agreed to raise the child age threshold for male employee to use paternity leave to 20. Thus far, male employee has been able to take leave when the child is 8 years old. Fourth is flexibility at work. They allow to work at home and have a flexibility schedule. Five is financial. Employee will get bonus pay, quarterly bonus, performance bonus, yearly bonus, employee discount, commuter assistance. Six, the retirement. Um, we don't uh we don't have more information about retirement. Just we show in the presentation. And seven is meal. With a staff of over 60,000 employees, there are large canteen operate all day and night, along with the most advanced cooking lines. They are totally confident in their ability to bring healthy and nutrition meals to all employees. And the last one is other benefits. They have employee mentoring program about learning opportunity, donation match with a volunteer grant, about holiday profits, 20, 25 days a year plus bank holidays and standard. After 10 years of service, employee get an extra day's holiday for that year. Long service award for 5, 10, 20 years and above is service. Subsidized ca- canteens in which employee can pay just £2 a day for receive a three-course Western or Korean meal. Birthday voucher, staff discount on Samsung products. And this is our reference that we bring to do research. Thank you.
May I raise my hand and make a short comment? So I wanted somehow to encourage people to talk during these classes and I want to make an observation. So we are here preparing for an international environment. And in an international environment, we will meet, I mean, the most situation we'll meet are the ones where we will not be talking English to natives. So in this group, only Professor Shan is the native, and he's the weird guy.
I'm the weird guy for sure.
Yes. So I want to understand that everybody has his way of using English. Each of us, depending on the areas we are coming from, we have different accent, we have different way of spelling the words. So it's really a nice exercise for all of us to cope with understanding all these different styles. So it's nice that I'm like a warranty. I'm like a proof here. I want to confess that when I'm in Vietnam, I hear people speaking English just like Ali. So sometimes you understand everything. Sometimes you don't catch everything. So it is the way you will find people speaking in there. So when you are in India, people are talking a totally different way. So it's a nice exercise to try to catch them up, to understand. If you are in Central Europe, you will hear people talking just like me. If you are in Thailand, it will be people, they will be talking like our colleagues from Thailand. And if we will be in Germany and Switzerland, maybe we will have people talking just like Marisa and Felix. So it is a nice and a very good exercise to exercise our ability to understand everybody. So it's this is one of the values of having this kind of mixed group. Okay, so I dare to guess that Professor Watts is pushing us to speak and everybody ask questions, even from this point of view, to just show the differences and just to accommodate with each other in understanding ourselves in this language that we call English, but maybe Professor Shan knows that it's not entirely the Cambridge or Oxford English. And I guess even Professor Shan is not talking the Oxford English.
Thank you very much for that. I definitely appreciate the support. What I am trying to also help contribute, I'd like to wait a little bit. I see, for example, though Kanak hasn't even joined the class yet, some students are joining in, but those of you that are active in the class, please show you are active. I'd like to see that you understand the material. I'd like to see that you can add value. So if you have questions or concerns, please ask the questions. If you sit quietly, that is polite in Korea, but it can be considered rude in many international organizations if you say nothing. So show that you care, show that you are respectful, say thank you as a minimum, and try to add value. Show that you are understanding the details. If you can try to get extra points, try to contribute something extra or discuss how improvements can be made. So with that said, the last slide I saw from our initial presenters had several different references. Great. And there was quite a bit of information that was shared. Great. Is there anybody in class that has questions or comments? Let me help motivate you even more.
So I would ask, if you don't mind, that if our students having this presentation, those references, they were Scopus articles, journals, or they were just from the internet? So Ladalachi, Angvara, or Pontia, can you reply? Can you answer?
Actually, that's a good question. Anybody in class should be able to guess that based on how you give a reference. So Kim Gunsu, you have your hand up. Can you try to answer Julian's question? Do you know if the references they used, are they reliable? Are they trustworthy? Are they the most reliable, like Scopus, Web of Science, journal article references?
First of all, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, when I find my articles, I usually look where it is, whether it is uploaded in the Scopus journal, and I also check whether it's from organizations or it's from the university professor, and I like check those details whether it is reliable sources or not. And
Okay, so you check, but I guess everybody checks. Um,
but the Scopus
that's
journal you told
nice,
me
but I
that is
don't know you check.
reliable.
So how there is a way you can show if it is a journal article and who wrote it and what year they wrote it, etc. The main
Oh
question,
yeah.
how do you show that you check?
될것 같다. Um, can you repeat the question once again, please? So I was
So
sorry.
in Ladalachi and the teammates presentation,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
showed website links,
All right.
and that's all she showed. So I don't know if those are websites that are company blogs. I don't know if those are reliable. I don't know if those are links to her family photos,
That's
because they're just showing a link code, not showing what's inside. So there's a proper way to reference. And if you reference properly, you can get more points.
the names and years, also how they retrieve from, and who's the author. Those details are important, I think.
Yes. So
And there's a
if I,
typical way to write down the references. I heard. Like,
yes, that's what I'm showing on the screen right now.
yeah,
So
those. Yeah.
here is an example of an interesting fact. It shows that Western expat managers and overseas Chinese expat managers on assignment in China respond to a survey assessing their extent to cultural novelty they perceived, as well as basically what it's showing is that when people work abroad in China, if you have Chinese ancestry, for example, from a German Chinese like Felix, or French Chinese or Canadian Chinese, those people working in China have different um, conditions than people that are not traditionally Chinese. Felix, can you comment on that?
I just want to say that when I try to find or to citate it, I have like a program for that. Maybe it's also used for the others. It's called Citavi. It's very popular in Europe. It's a pretty good way to citate or also find information about that, and also like do it in a scientific way. Maybe that helps the others to for the next presentation.
Can you repeat?
Can you say the name of the citation program that you use again?
Citavi. I can also write it into the chat.
Yes, if you share that link in the chat, that might be good. But what's most important is there are hundreds of different programs that help you share citations or references. What is most important is what information is shared. Can anybody comment on what is the information that should be shared? You must share to get proper points. To pass the class, 60 points is your research project. So what do you have to share for a proper reference? Ladalachi, your team, Gunsu Kim, Felix, you've started the talk. Can anybody in the class clarify, what do you have to share to show your proper results?
Is it the authors, I guess?
Absolutely, yes. You must show who wrote it. Yes, next.
And I believe there must be some facts that where he is from, where he belongs to.
Actually, not sort of. Yes, sort of. It doesn't care if you're from Canada or Germany or Russia or any other country, but in this reference that you can see, this shows he is from the Journal of Business Research. He's publishing his information in a famous journal. So that is where he's from. And this is more valuable than saying he's from Canada or USA or Thailand or Korea, because these top journals have other experts that check to make sure your facts are true and reliable. If I say something in Canada, maybe it's not true. So if it's from a reliable journal, that's good. What else? So we have the name of the person contributing, that's here, Jan Selmer, and the Journal of International Business, the Journal of Business Research, that's here. What else? Just sharing a website, sometimes, is that reliable or not reliable?
Oh, it's not reliable. You also have to upload the date where you looked it up, and sometimes also you have to save the whole website to citate from it. That's how I learned it.
Not sometimes. In our class, always you need to share the link, the website where you got it, or a DOI, which is the website code. And yes, you need to share the date that you found it, October 5, 2020. Great. And that's different than when this article was written, must also be shared. This person, Jan Selmer, wrote this story, this reference, in 2002. So both of those dates and exact website where you get it and where you got it as far as the journal or the website, that needs to be shared. The last thing that you all must be sharing is the title of the story or the title of the article. Anguawa, I see that you are posting comments, but I'm not able to interrupt class to check the comments easily. Can you talk to us about your references? Are they reliable, or do you think maybe they're not fully reliable?
I will talk about our scope article that is about benefit that company in Samsung will get from the company that I present on the PPT. So
Okay,
we want just
my question is, you have shown you got some information, great. But I'm asking now, can you show if it's reliable and trusted or not? Because some things you can trust, they're very reliable, and everybody in class must learn that in class. That's what I'm checking. And other things might be less reliable. So can you clarify what is how reliable is your information?
I think this is can trust because it's from Samsung website. So
Good. Okay. That's an awesome statement. Thank you very much. Because we have visiting professors from Samsung, they must love you because you say you trust everything from Samsung. Is there anybody in class that can help me debate that? We, Ladalachi and Angrawa, your group, you presented. So thank you. I respect that you presented. You've got points for that. Right now, we're moving into the next topic. The next topic is the rest of this week and next week, every student in class must share articles. They must share the research they have. And so I hope you're happy that I'm using Ladalachi and your group as an example to teach everybody in class how to know what is good and what is bad. So who can comment? Is everything Samsung says in their website always reliable? Is it always truthful? Any
I also
comments?
said like that the Samsung S7 Note is like not exploding, so I don't think everything they write is true.
Yes, absolutely. So sometimes your products will explode. Maybe it will poke your eye out or kill you, right? We should not promote that publicly, but the company website is not going to talk too much about that because it will hurt them. That's a very good point. Thank you. Minsu Kim, you have a comment.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say like on the official website, they will only mention the positive things about the company because they will not focus on the negative aspects. Like for example, as Felix talked about the accident of cell phones exploding. So on website, even if there's a case, the same like one accident, they will always try to put on the bright side's perspective and not on the part that might hurt the reputation of the company.
Great. So to summarize, you just said the truth. You just said that some companies have problems, but they don't talk about those problems. They usually only talk about the positive things to make them look good, because that's true. A website is a marketing tool. Websites are trying to help market, promote you most of the time. And so you don't usually use the internet to talk about how I have a bad hair day or I have a product that is killing my customers. So the websites, just direct websites, are not always truthful. They're not always fully reliable. They're only telling the positive side of the story. Great. What is similar to a company website for reliability? Anybody? What are some other websites just like a Samsung.com website that has information, it's interesting information, but it might not be fully sharing all details?
Maybe social media accounts of them also.
Good. You're right. Almost anything in the social media is usually just showing something that's generally interesting, and it may or definitely may not be fully reliable. Yes, absolutely. Let's look at. I am starting.
Also like for some studies, there you have to look who paid the study. So if it's like a lot of companies try to finance some studies to manipulate the result of them, so you also have to look out which who paid the professors or paid the people doing the tests or the study.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. Let's go through. Anybody else want to comment on that? Try to get extra points?
Is the site it shouldn't be the like Samsung.com. It should be the site something like Samsung.org, or there are some specific links that they have like full information and how do I say for information with like there are like CC. I'm not sure. Like there are some marks that they are reliable and can be shared to the others.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to comment that Ladalachi and Angrawa, your group, you presented some information, so that's good. It's good to reference that. So that is the first step. You have the first step. The next step is to identify how you got that information. So specify you got it just from the company, specify who wrote it, specify when they said it, because sometimes the company may say something 20 years ago and it's not true today. So it's important when you got the information, and it's important when the information was created. Next, you need to make sure you're referencing a variety of sources. Like a company website might be new and social media might be new, but it's not, might not be very reliable. So reliable things are what? What is the main reliable source of information? Anybody? Is the audio still working? Can you guys still hear me? Marissa, I see you smiling there, but I haven't heard anything from you today. I'm going to pull you in to contribute to class.
Yeah, I would say it's difficult to get this kind of information because it always has to be like from both sides, like a lot of references. Like an article always has to have a lot of references, like a lot of different origins from information that the article has been put together by. So it like has views from different sides.
You just finished talking. They did what you just said. You said show a lot of references. They have that. How can they improve that reference page? What are the specific?
Double check information.
Would you like to continue explaining, Marissa, just in detail?
Yeah, I would just say like that the information you get has to be like, how to say it? I don't really know how to explain it.
Good. I think I saw, who is it? Kim Gun-soo. You looked like you were trying to talk. Did you want to clarify some specific details?
About referencing, right?
Yes.
All I could think was I already told you those authors, the years of the writing, and what position the main author is. Apart, actually, I'm not really sure about
Yes,
this.
I'll give you half a point for a good guess. Trying. Anybody in class that wants to guess, you might get half a point. Usually the position of the person, like my position is professor, but I don't get any credit when somebody references saying Professor Watts. The only thing that's important is saying Watts or Sean Watts. So my position is not important, but my association with an organization is more important. The association with Samsung is nice, but what is more reliable than an association with Samsung? You must have an association with an organization that's definitely trusted, like a Scopus journal or a Web of Science journal. Okay.
I have vocation then.
Sure,
But
sure.
if the author is a doctor or like you said a high profession, but if he belong to untrust organization, then it's untrustable, right?
Correct.
Oh, I see.
There are many people that have a PhD that are still idiots. There are some people, I know a person that is, he's actually mentally handicapped. Some people say mentally retarded, but he has 7 PhDs. So he says a lot of crazy things. Sometimes he's talking about elephants are purple, but 10 seconds later, he can talk about Einstein's theory of relativity. So having a PhD doesn't mean it's top quality. They're checking the organization is usually better. Just a company name or a website name doesn't mean it's reliable, unless you're famous for something. If you're very popular, for example, if you say Donald Trump, I think everybody in the world knows you're not really reliable. If you say Barack Obama, then almost everybody in the world may know that you probably are reliable. Or who's the guy that's very reliable in United States with the CDC? That one doctor, Dr. Fauci, he is reliable. So if you're super popular, you can be known for being trusted. That's okay. But most people are not super famous. They're not super popular. So you rely on the organization. And that's where we get back into, there's two main organizations in the world that are very famous for identifying top quality, reliable information. And that is the Scopus organization or the Web of Science. They do not own journals. They are just an association of many experts that will accept some journals if they're quality. And anything that they accept, the rest of the world can be assured it is good quality. Is that clear? There's so many students in class that I don't see today. Who else can I get to comment on some of these details? So,
well, Professor, if you don't mind, maybe we allow Mr. Kim to present his paper as well, and maybe after their presentation we have some more examples to put in the class.
Perfect. So, Mr. Kim, when you are presenting, or the next group that is presenting, even if your PPT does not show the details, make sure you verbally clarify if it's from a respected journal article, source, or not, because that's pretty important. And in your final research results, it needs to be spelled out. Go ahead.
We will try. Can you give authorization to Hyunak to second?
Yes.
Yes, you are confused.
Yep. 화면 공유. 화면 공유해서. Yep. 그거잖아. So, can you guys see the presentations? All right.
Yes, I can see your details.
Yeah. So, our topic is going to be how aging society in Korea effects on recruitment system and overall corporate operation. So, the main journal we are going to look up is the European Union aging population and the challenges for HRM. This article is uploaded in the Scopus journal, and it is showing the emerged issues coming from the Europe aging society, such as generation equity, sharing workforce, and discuss how organization can best manage the transition to a workforce that is rapidly aging but equally productive.
Good. Stop. Can I interrupt for a second? Perfect. Yep. Oh, can you go back to your first slide? So everybody in class, is this good or bad? What can you see here? Everybody in class, if you want to be an international quality student or an international academic or a leader, you should be able to recognize some key things with what we're seeing on the screen right now. Hyunak-do, thank you. You were sharing information. Kim Gun-soo, you were sharing information. you actually said this was from the Journal of European Union, blah, blah, blah. Thank you, but that's wrong. The journal name, it is on this slide. It is shown, but it's super small and it's a little bit hard to see. Can somebody find the journal name here? Keep going down, keep going down.
It's Thunderbird International Bus Reference and Willy Periodicus.
Yes. So at the very bottom of the screen, you can see in very small writing, it says Thunderbird int biz ref. So that's probably talking about Thunderbird International Business Review. And right beside it, it also says a code. And at the very top of the page, it also says the code, that DOI, yes. That DOI, that is the same thing as the website page. That's the web link code. So if you have that code, you don't need to show the web link. So the first thing, the most important thing to show is Thunderbird International Business Review. That is trusted. That is actually famous. That is a Scopus and Web of Science accepted journal article. So full points, great just for showing that. Next, by showing the DOI, anybody in the world can copy that DOI, put it into the Google, and this article should pop up. What else is important? Yanakdo, Kim, Gunsu, how about you guys ask your classmates? What should you
As you
test
said,
the class?
association.
How about you do the teaching and ask your students what else is important on this page?
What else do you guys think is reliable? Anyone?
Great question. Or what is useful? What should you all use and record?
I mean, there's association, proper association that where he belongs, where the author belongs.
You mean the School of Business, Wichita State University?
Yeah.
That's nice, but nobody really cares. Some people might care. If you want to go study there, maybe you like it. Or if you did study there, maybe it's interesting to you. But that has good professors and bad professors. The only thing that really shows that guy is good is that Thunderbird International Business Review. They are top quality. They checked that his information is good.
이거 넣기 잘했지 않냐 그래서. 그렇지.
Next.
Oh, sorry. So those texts are driven from the article, those two sentences. The aging society has been occurred due to the low birth rate among the European countries and is anticipated to be higher as the year goes by. Yep. And as the aging society continues, corporates should come up with the innovative HRM system, such as lifetime training sessions to retain and acquire talented employees. So in this proposal, we are going to cover the social issues, which is called rapid growth of aging society and current situation of the corporate in Korea and anticipated problems caused by the aging issues. So here, as you can see, the left chart deals with the population by age group. And those age group below 14 and 64 is decreasing. However, over the 65 is gradually increasing, or those medium height, low growth category. And likewise, the median age also has been increased 2020. So it's 47.7. This is the average age in Korea society. And those are the consequences of the low birth rate. And chart and graphs are depicting about the number of live births in Korea. And as you can see, it all plunged since 2009.
So as the aging society is growing fast, it is inevitable to face the aging matters in the perspective of the company. According to the data given from the Ministry of National Statistics of Korea, as for employment positions by age group, the employment positions of workers aged between 30 to 39 and workers aged 29 or less declined by 47,000 and 13,000 respectively. And the employment positions of workers aged 60 or more and workers aged 50 or between 50 to 59 and the workers aged 40 to 49 rose by 253,000 and 171,000 and 64,000 respectively. This proves that aging issues arise not only in the society but also in the corporate. Then what kind of problems can happen in the company? The population distribution of inverse triangular structure will in the end be made, and there will be thousands of retirements with small amounts of new and young workers coming in. And the lack of new and young workers will cause the lack of creativity and low level of innovation. The wage of old employees who are hardly innovative and productive will get higher and higher by the career that they have built in the company when the number of old employees is growing dramatically higher, and the old workers comparatively low level of understanding and the participation will lead to the decrease in the company's competitiveness. So in the term paper, we will cover how HR managers deal with these problems and how to overcome and utilize the aging issues. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. So can you guys continue to act as HR managers and show that the rest of the class has been well oriented and check they understand your material?
So if anyone has any ideas on the aging issues related with everything, like it'll be good if it's related with the corporate, then please share the materials with us so we can work more on it. And currently, we are working on the aging society in Korea and how the aging society affects on the Korea corporate HRM system. So if anyone has something to share, please share with us.
Everybody's all talking at once. Okay, I'm going to start by recording. I think for each person that is presented, maybe there's half a point for sharing some sort of web link. If any of you can identify that you have a Scopus article or a journal article, that should be more, 1 point. So can anybody, even if you did not talk yet today, did you see some reliable journal article? Was there some way to verify it? With that said, I'm going to go back and make sure details. I'm not going to keep taking too much of your time. Again, I'm offering to give you guys points if you contribute. So
If I may, one moment.
Yes, go ahead.
So Angara, Suksana, they have some Scopus article, and I'm suggesting maybe they can share screen and show it. So among their references, whenever.
Yes, Ladalachi, your hand is up. Would you like to explain?
I don't want to explain, but I just want to ask that what is the reverse pyramid?
I didn't hear you. Can you speak clearly into the microphone?
I want to ask that what is the reverse pyramid?
So in the presentation from Hyun Pak-do, they have something about a reverse. I've seen something as well, a reverse pyramid, social pyramid with a aging structure, something.
Yeah, exactly. So the more the aging society continues, the older age growth will remain top of the company. But since there are so many old employees, so maybe it will be harder for the youth to enter into the uh, corporate. Uh, so so many youth are now, as you can see, they are not really looking for the jobs. They are looking for the how to say exams, like civil exams to get those safe jobs, like the working under the government. Their youth are more working on those things rather than looking for the job. So consequently, the age distribution will be like the inverted triangle distribution. Do you get it?
Could you possibly open your screen share and show the details in your screen so people might better understand details?
All right. Last. Okay. So the first one, the problems inverse triangular structure in population distribution of the company. That is what I just said. Uh, there will be like elder groups mostly in the company rather than having a new young age group.
So that's a very fancy way of saying the company is mostly old people.
Yeah. That's exactly
Okay.
what I want to. But
Very cool English. I think
sorry.
Julian calls that British English.
We use Papago translation for this. Okay.
Any other comments about this? So the wage of the old employees or the low level of understanding and participation. Can you summarize some of those problems, those details?
Yeah, Hyunato will explain this.
Yes, Professor, uh, since all workers working level, I mean working skills are getting lower and lower. That's truly fact that their physical ability and their mental ability will decrease as they get older. So,
Hey, now be careful! You're talking to an old man.
but it's scientifically proven that I mean young and new workers has more potentiality in doing business with creativity, and they are more eager to participate on company's business because yes.
Come on, is there anybody here that can help defend me? I'm not just an old fart. There's a reason people pay a lot more money for these old guys.
Maybe because they have more experience, but I think to new technology, it's for us easier to adapt to them.
Yes. The younger people may be more creative. Yes. You may be more open-minded to new ideas. Yes. But you have to also respect the experience of the older people. So there's good things and bad things.
But I think a company full with old people don't work. It's not the church in Rome.
Yes, a problem with
the Vatican. You see that it's not working.
Okay, so I'm sharing screen.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm sharing a screen, and it's just like an example because it's a state case study. So in here on the right, you can see the age pyramid of Japan in 1950. Okay, and as you can see, well, actually, it's the population story. No. So the point is, this is like a pyramid with the age. So at the bottom, you can see that it was mostly young people and less old people. But in 2019, young people are less and old people are more. So this is why they said the pyramid is reversed. Okay. So the point is a country that have that has less young people than old people. I mean, the country that have more old people, they have problems with social insurance, with the working people that are available on the market. Okay, so this is about having a reversed pyramid. The structure of population is changing. And what Hyun Hodak and Gun So-min, they want to point out is that by the time population is getting aged, it is less people available to work in factories and to make businesses, and more people, they will rely on social security. Yes, I'm stepping back from here.
Okay, thank you very much for that. We've gone through and we've shown quite a lot of information. Marissa, I see your hand up again.
I just wanted to add that they also maybe meant that the closer you get to retirement, the less motivation you have, like to change your behavior or to adapt to changes and to like increase your productivity yourself. So that's why they actually mean like they are not that proactive and the productivity goes down. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Because retirement is a huge box of cash or huge income source, people don't want to risk losing that. They don't want to risk getting fired. So yes, a lot of people that are very close to retirement, they will be very conservative and not create many, many new things. That's a very good point. Any other student comments? Thank you for that, Marissa. Since you're all young and you should be eager to be creative, why don't you show me in class? Because if I'm the old guy, I have the experience, I can give points. I can give the rewards. How are we talked about Samsung, we talked about some companies. What are some comments related to how Samsung introduces or inducts new employees, or how they orient new employees? In our presentation today, we had some people sharing information that was in the website. Does anybody know of the very specific details of either of those? How are some of these companies actually orienting new employees? Any comments? Any last comments? Anything about the presentations before I take over and start wrapping up the regular presentations? Okay. I'll go through and just show you some of the basics. So we were talking earlier about the idea of papers, and normally you should be starting your research paper for class. That should be presented today, this week, next week at the latest. Start showing your information. It doesn't have to be finished, but this is the ultimate goal, looking something like this. And it's best if you find something that is good and reliable, like a published article, a published Scopus or Web of Science, and then modify that paper for your interest. Find a company you want to work with, like Kakao, as Gunsu Kim was talking about his interest, and take a published paper and then modify it for that. When you go through it, there is a variety of things. For example, in here, this shows how to properly reference the articles. Make sure you're aware of those.
Excuse me. So
yes,
I just want to enforce your example before. So, for example, with the presentation from Gun So Kim and Hyun Hong Dak, so they want to make a presentation regarding the influence of aging population in Korea. Okay, but they have found an article about Europe. So they can take the article from Europe, see how they build the article, and they just replace the data from Korea. So they keep the structure and they put the data from Korea. So it is easier for them to come with a paper that looks like a Scopus article. I mean, just
yes, absolutely. That's what everybody in class should be aware of. That's what you should be thinking of.
Thank you.
So
okay.
what I'm showing here is, this is the student introduction PPT that it was the first one we showed with class, 2020 student intro class requirements, and it shows properly reference everything. Make sure you show the author's name, the year the article was written, the title of the author, the title of the article, the title of the journal, and then when you accessed it and the website where you found it from. So generally they look like this. And since some people are working in groups with good people, no problem, you can share things easily. But sometimes companies have workers or staff that aren't very cooperative. They're not producing a lot of results. So I have come up with a contribution plan to help manage that. Make sure when you are showing your work, even in your group activity, you highlight what you created and color coded. So with Mr. Jung and Mr. Kim, they presented details today. I don't know who found one detail or who found the other detail. So as we're going forward, Mr. Kim and Mr. Jung, you guys are lucky, you're safe, you both get equal points. But for the rest of the class, the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be in class. So as we go forward, you should, if you have two people doing a project, one person can say, I'm going to have information in black and white, and the other student shows, I have information that I created in green highlight or yellow highlight. This way, the whole class will be able to direct questions appropriately and see who is the specialist in those details. If one student is working well, most of their work will be highlighted in their color. Other students that did not work might not, their name may be there, but because they did not contribute anything, just like the class grades, there's no marks. So hopefully that will help motivate all people to share details properly.
Okay. One thing I want to add that is it's Kim and Do, not Jung.
Okay. Hyunhak Do.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do Hyun-hak, what did you actually present today?
Well, I actually present about. I mean, our group has actually presented about the aging issue and the current situations that is happening in the company.
I'm not asking about the group. I'm asking what specifically did you find and share today?
I actually find what's happening in the corporate, I mean, in the company because of the aging issues nowadays, and what kind of problems can be caused by the aging society. That's what I have actually researched for.
Can you share with the class a quote or an article that somebody else in the class may be able to also use in your term paper?
Pardon?
Can you share a actual quote or can you share something that somebody else in class can reference? For
I
example,
actually got this data from.
If I'm writing a paper, I can't say Do Hyun-hak said what's happening in a company. I need to know the specific details. What is an example inside a company and where did you get it? What is your reference for me to quote you? And if you do that, you get maximum points.
Oh, okay. But I actually got the data from the Ministry of National Statistics of Korea. Well, I thought that's highly reliable.
Well, Donald Trump is the top of many ministries.
No. But since it's like, I mean, those data is all written in numbers. Oh, shit. So
okay.
I thought that would be highly reliable because those are not in the written form, but it's in numbers.
I can say my company, our company, Kim Young University, pays me $10 million a minute. You want me to write it down? Is that reliable?
But that was like.
Again, we get.
Well,
I get your
we will
point.
have more
I
research.
don't want to confuse you. I'm making sure that as a young student with being new to experience, there's a very big difference between general information and very specific information. And so that's one of the things I'm trying to teach you today. Going into a company, knowing general information might get somebody to look at you. But if you only continue talking about general information, an experienced or valuable person in the company is going to ignore you and walk away. You need to start specifying details that may be of value and show it is of value, like a good reference, for the experienced people to continue giving you their time. So some of you are going to start interviewing companies in the midterm break. All of you should contact the company and interview people, workers. You can start by interviewing the parking lot attendant, because if you make a mistake when you're interviewing the parking lot attendant, at least you learn a little bit. And so then you can talk to a secretary. And the secretary, maybe if you make a mistake and you insult her by accident, no big deal. You still have the phone number or the email address of a manager or a director or the president. But every time you talk to somebody, you will learn more and more. And eventually you learn enough so that when you go talk to a higher level, you can add value. But you should be avoiding general details the more serious you go. So thank you for that. Let's get into, we've only got a little bit of time left. I wanted to just show you again the PPT that we have. So we already went through the week 6, chapter 8, orientation and employee training. We started today showing the video of how Hudsucker Proxy, they started a new employee and they gave the new employee many, many, many details. So many details that it would be impossible for any human being to understand and remember. So that is a reality. Usually the company must have systems in place to protect, because people will forget or they don't know what are some of the things that you need to do. With the that video we started the class with, the famous actors, he was given so many details. For example, you have to have a coupon when you give somebody a mail order, or when you give somebody a box, you must get a coupon or a receipt for giving it to them, because if something gets lost, they will blame you. So things like that are why Samsung and many companies in Korea have an extended on-the-job training system. So there is value to that. But also you should have the training manual no matter where you are in the world. If you join a company and they do not have a training manual, maybe you should start to develop a training manual and you can offer that to the company. The company should like you. The more details you put in the training manual, the better, the easier it is to train new people, the faster it is to train people. Because if they have on-the-job training, that costs the company a lot of money. So those are some things you can start to talk about. For example, Samsung's training manual exists, but there are many, many different training manuals depending on your department or which branch of the company or even which country you work with Samsung. There are probably bigger, more detailed training manuals in Samsung United States for employees in United States than there are at Samsung headquarters. So you might want to check some of those details and maybe come back, translate that for the Samsung head office to help them here. You know, those are things that you can use for today's weekly topic when you're getting ready to contact your company. There are training programs and there's steps to successful training programs. As we saw here, you have to start performing the job analysis, as we saw in that video this morning. You need to perform the needs assessment, make sure you know how to do it. And although he basically just had to push a big shopping cart full of mail, there's a lot more details that he needed to know for his needs assessment. For example, can he remember these details? Does he have a notebook to write down all of the coupons required, for example? Next, the objectives, that whole idea of some things are urgent, some things are not urgent. We saw that in the video. That idea of what are the training objectives, what is urgent, not urgent. The more details you get, the better as we go forward. And those are things that you can evaluate with the training outcomes. We talked about on-the-job training with that video. We talked about how Samsung has on-the-job training, but usually on-the-job training is usually for a specific type of tasks, like a plumber or a electrician. They will go from middle school or high school to join a plumbing company and start doing the plumbing and learn the job as they're working. That's a little bit different. It's similar to a student right now. You are similar to a plumber. If you have an internship, you start interacting with the company. So the more on-the-job training you can show, the more internships you can show, the more exposure and experience you can show, the more valuable you are to the company, regardless of your creativity. So please make sure that's in the back of your mind. And this PPT is talking about classroom training, virtual classrooms. Nowadays, Samsung is doing a lot more, or they have to do virtual classrooms and trainings. I know for a fact that back in the early 1990s, Samsung obviously did not have any virtual training. They would take their new recruits and even their top executive managers, and they would take them out to a Samsung resort, for example, on the East Coast, and they would actually torture the staff at the same time as they would train them, because they were thinking Samsung staff are supposed to be top quality. So if you can remember these details when you're being tortured, it would be much, much easier to relax and share this information when you're back in the office. Even though it's stressful to train somebody else, even though it's stressful to your job, because you're not being tortured anymore, you enjoy it more than this training program. One of my first jobs in Samsung was telling them to stop torturing people. Does anybody know why Samsung was torturing staff back in the 1990s? Can anybody guess? What is the HR management methodology? Why would a company think it's good to torture staff? We're basically out of time. I'm just going to go through the group. Park, come in. Can you guess? Why would a company in Korea put new staff or any trained staff under extreme conditions or torture? I'm in Park. Are you there? No. Jun Hae-jin, are you there? Cho Hyun-jang, are you in class today?
Professor,
Lee Du-young.
sorry.
If you have something to contribute, please comment. Questions?
So this is Mingsu. Maybe I know that sometimes they want to test if the person is able to take pressure. So they want to test if they will be able to handle the business, the pressure after starting to work in the company, maybe.
Good. That's a very nice thought, and it is partly true. Thank you very much. Make sure you record half a point just for that good guess. Anybody else? Can you guess somebody else in class and try to find out if other people know the real reason why why many companies around the world were actually almost torturing staff in the 1990s? An HR practice in the 1990s, people use, okay, I heard somebody try to talk.
Because I'm Kyunggon. Isn't it because, well, I have an idea that they pay a lot, like because they pay a lot, they have an idea that we pay a lot, so we can torture and we can push you to work and
Yeah, okay, that's part of it. It's a very small part of it. Because Samsung is a #1 company, yes, they expect their employees to be #1. And if you can't manage this stress, yes, you don't belong. That's a very small part of it. Marissa, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I think it's about that the stress and like what you experience during this camp thing is like so hard that when you come back to work, you think it's easy. Basically, like you come back to work and it's like
Okay,
something
part of it.
nicer.
Can you
Oh,
actually remember Denmark and United States were some of the first people to start doing this? Do you recall what Denmark and Scandinavian countries in North America was doing back in the 1990s? I'll be clear, they were not trying to torture people, but they were doing something similar. Why? Anybody want to guess?
I think it's also from the cultural factors because it's so many it's kind of affected by the military cultures like they've been
Well, okay, that is actually in Korea. They follow the military culture, but
yeah.
Korea
and it
was a little bit different. So yes, that's a good guess. Usually in Korea, many companies will train the new staff just like they are soldiers. Everybody has to show the respect. Everybody has to do things together at the same time, just like soldiers. Yes, but that's
co-
not
co- because of the
the
power
original.
distance culture
Sorry.
because of the power distance between the high rank and low rank.
Um,
Yeah.
Good guess. Since
Okay.
our class time is up, I'll just go ahead and tell you guys, back in the Scandinavian countries like Marissa, I believe, and in North America, they realized that when people have a good, close relationship with the other people they work with, when you have a close relationship, you work better. So they would take people, the workers, and they had them in classrooms, and they worked a little bit better after the classroom. But classrooms can be boring, and classrooms can be a little bit torturous, so it didn't really help. In Korea, they would take people out to a bar or a resort, and they would give you a lot of alcohol, because if you have alcohol with other people, you have a better relationship with those other people. And if you have alcohol with your work colleagues, you can work better with them later. But again, that's still not what Denmark and Scandinavia and North America was doing. They realized when you did extreme sports like racing, sailing, or kayaking competitions, or whitewater rafting, when you did those extreme sports together, it was very exciting. And those workers, when you come back from the extreme sports, you had a very strong connection, and you were almost like best friends, and so you would share work much better. And so they did extreme activities in Scandinavia and North America, but there were extreme sports. But the world and CNN was announcing they were doing extreme activities, period. And Korea and China and other countries misunderstood the translation. And they just had extreme torture. They would take them to a resort, make them jog in the ice cold water in January from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. And then from 5 a.m. to 5:15, they would have breakfast. And at the same time as they eat breakfast, they have a lecture. Then they go jog on the ice cold beach and snow again for another hour. That type of torture was what they thought was the world's best training program. They misunderstood that it's supposed to be enjoyable, not torture. They were focused just on extreme bonding. So anyway, that's just one aspect. When you start doing your research, I hope you guys start learning more of those details. Some people do training of employees, but they might have translation problems or misunderstanding problems. So I want you to ask questions. Ask questions with me, ask questions with students, ask questions with us, to bond together and learn from each other before you talk to somebody you want to work for. Practice on me. I can't fail you for making a small mistake in class. But if you only wait until the very last day for graduating our class, you could fail if you make a mistake with the term paper. And if you walk up to the company director and you say, I want to torture you, I know how to torture you, you're probably never going to get a job. So that's about it for today. If anybody does have questions, I'm going to stay around for a while. Everybody must be presenting your research material so far, your research articles, either this week or next week in order to get points. Thank you very much, class.
Thank you, Professor. Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Let's see if there's any other comments to go through. Felix. Okay, so that's the, I remember from Felix, that's the referencing website. Angara is sharing more Samsung links. Great. If it's directly from the Samsung, it's probably not a Scopus link. So let's check in here again. So Angwara, if you're still there, or Suksana, you have said that this is your Scopus article in your last presentation. Thank you for saying that, but that's not true. That link is to a company website. So a company website is very different than a Scopus reference. It is not Scopus. It is a reference, but it is not perfectly reliable. Hopefully that is clear to you.
Yes, well, they have a Scopus in to those references, but probably they messed up the link. So
okay, Suksana, is that clear to you?
I think they just left because they have another class.
Okay. Shiraz, are you there, Shiraz Hassan? I've seen you start your Zoom session in several classes, but I haven't seen you actually communicating in many of the classes. Are you there, Shiraz? No, again, today you start your Zoom, but you're actually not in class. So I can't give you any points or even attendance for that. So Jihuan, did you have a question?
Can you hear me, Professor?
Yes, I can.
I got kicked out from Gansu Kim and